listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. Thank you very much for your picture from our government.
This was the Ijo country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools to make your academic education as government college to Delhi. And
go gather, destroy their food. With camp and that other camp, Togo camp, no compensate everybody.
Generation sometimes. Today our focus will be in the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his point as more dancer.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. With too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after stories, earthly adventures and more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary life.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet. Good day.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for talking to the African Center for Community and Development. What are your names, sir?
My name is Mr. Tanker Cornelius.
And you keep pigs and other animals.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about pigs?
Well, I do livestock farming in general, and I bring pigs from 1 day to about to the adult age. That is, when I have the sows, which I cross them with the boas and the produce. So if you really want pigs, let me say from 6 weeks that you can be breeding, I can supply you. And if one pigs for an occasion, that is from 6 months to about 8 months, which will weigh you about 60 to 80 kilograms, I can also supply you. And in actual fact, what is actually disturbing me with the pig is that the feeding. The feeding is, they need too much money for feeding. And their medical care, because we are just exceeding from the period that we call it epidemic period, because during this period, that is starting from the month of March right up to when we are today, we farmers, we always suffer a loss, because the African swine fever is always attacking the pigs at that moment. And during this period, it is the highest time that we spend more money for vaccines and medical care. So as a result, we always suffer within this period of time. So after this period of time, like we are now getting to November, when the epidemic is almost getting through. So when we arrive this November month like this, we know that whatever stock that we have, it is our profit for the year.
Okay. For how long have you been doing this?
I started doing this since 1997.
Wow. So, what do you give your pigs as food?
Well, I compose remoulade, concentrate, and dredge with corn for their feed.
Okay.
Yes.
And how do you know the right quantities, or you just mix everything?
No, that is, we used to measure, let me say, I take 5% of concentrate, 15% of soya beans, which is 20% of protein, mixed concentrate and soya beans. And then I take 70% of maize, then bone for iron.
Okay.
Yes.
And you get the bone from where?
I buy the bones from Belbucam, which is already prepared. We can also do it locally, but it is very dangerous.
Why?
Well, because when you go and pick them in the market, you don't know if they have already contaminated some bacteria, which will be good, which will be dangerous for the pigs. So we don't like to use the local method. Otherwise, if you were to go to the local method, you just go to the market, you pick the bones, and you use kerosene or petrol to burn them. When they are dry off, you just take them to the machine, the crush, and you mix with their feed. You use the quantity that you want.
These pigs, how old are these pigs here?
The one that is standing like this is exactly 4 months old, as you see it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you intend to sell it in December?
Yeah, I intend to sell it in December.
You think it's going to be about what price at that time?
Let me say by that December, it must be 6 months, which I can sell it for the minimum of 65 to 70,000.
Wow. And this is what you use in keeping your life, your family? And
that is exactly what I use to sustain my own life.
Okay. And do you teach some other people this trade?
Yeah, we have a common initiative group, which I am the delegate of this group, and all my other farmers are actually learning from me.
What is the name? What is the name?
AHAFA CIG, a Happy Family Common Initiative Group.
Okay, but what are the difficulties you face in this CIG?
Financial problems is our most difficulties. The financial problem, actually. Because these pigs, as you see them like this, they need feed. The chickens too, they also need feed. So we don't really have that much money to afford for this. So if we should have had enough money like this, what you are seeing now, it should have been, let me say, 3 times or 4 times this. But because we are just managing, that's why you see just a limited stock.
Now, can you tell me a bit about what it takes to cross your pigs and the time of crossing and why you separate your pigs in different places?
Yeah, in actual fact, when the pig attains 7 months, you begin to observe it. Immediately you see the first hit, you jump it. You see the second one again, you jump. Then the third hit, you can now cross it. By that time, the pig will be 8 months. When you cross it, at that time, the farrow will be very good. Because when you cross it at that time, let me say, if it is the first time crossing, it will farrow from 7, 8, 9, and 10.
And how do you know that it is on heat?
You will see the valve will project outside. You see the valve looks as if it is swollen.
Okay. And what does it take? What happens when you don't follow these rules?
Well, when you don't follow these rules, in some cases you will see that you just bring the male, you bring the boa and the sow, you join them together. You don't follow the rules. You see that the farrow will be very poor, because you will see that it can only deliver like 1 or 2 piglets, and in some cases you only find it growing very fast. It does not get pregnant. So it is very important to follow it like that.
And this pig was just crossed
yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, I crossed it yesterday.
Where did you get the male to cross it?
I have the male. The male is down.
Okay.
Yes.
And what do you give the male so that it is active and it is healthy to cross your other pig?
Yes, the composition of the male, it has plenty of iron in the feed, because it's supposed to be very powerful and healthy. Yes, because that's the person that is doing all the crossing over the entire farm here.
But the local species, they used to call some the Bakweri pigs.
Yeah, those local species, if you really want to go about with the local species, it will really cost you a lot, because you feed a pig from, let me say, a piglet that you just wean it from breast milk. You can feed it for about 6 months. It cannot give you up to 40 kilograms.
So it is only advantageous for traditional
exactly,
purposes?
For people who just leave them to be going around and picking food around the compound or in the neighborhood.
Okay.
If you are really buying feed to feed it, it will not be good for business. That's the male that is causing all of that.
And this is the biggest?
Yes, this one is
It's about how many kilos?
Yes, this one can give you about 180 kilos. I was with it in the last agri show that was in Limbe here. And it came the third, because one man came from Boya with the biggest one Mr. Ikome. Okay. Then there was one other farmer too from Iti now. who was the second. Then I was the third in Limbe.
If you were to sell this, you could sell it for about how much?
Let me say 180,000.
So a kilogram at least 1,000 francs.
Exactly.
Wow. Is it a male or female?
It is a female.
So, but do you cross it?
Yes, I just crossed it about. I crossed it on the 17th of last month.
So it's pregnant.
It's pregnant now.
Okay. And the farmer is also keeping poultry. How old are these?
They are 14 days.
Okay.
Just 2 weeks old. Yes, as you see them like this.
And what do you give them?
I give them starter mash.
Okay.
Because they are still at their young age. So when they will get to 21 days, I will tend to give them broiler mash. That's commonly called a finisher.
Okay.
Yes. And then from that 21 days to 45 days, it can give you a body weight of 1.5 kilograms to 2 kilos. That time it is ready for consumption.
And you can sell the 1.5 kilograms for how much?
For 3,000 francs.
Okay. What are the difficulties in this chicken business?
The difficulties is the same feeding and the medication.
So do you vaccinate your pigs and your chicken?
We do vaccinate them. If you cannot vaccinate them, don't expect to have a pig, especially in this epidemic period.
Okay. But is it expensive, the vaccines? Are they expensive?
Yes, the vaccines are actually expensive. We vaccinate them 2 times a year. Then we have a routine treatment that we give them every monthly. Let me say by deworming them, giving them multivitamin, give them antibiotics for not to contaminate common bacteria.
So why are you not keeping layers?
Well, I don't keep layers because I don't have the money to go in for layers. You know, to go in for layers, you must really have enough capital. Because when you start them from 1 day old, you have to vaccinate them. Then before they start laying, you also vaccinate them. During their laying period, you also vaccinate them. So the layers are very expensive to keep them.
Okay. Where did you learn how to do all these things?
Well, when I was still attending my primary school, we used to go to RT, Rural Training Center, Fonta. That was where I learned how to do all these things.
Okay. Can you say that these things you've been telling me in your dialect so that your people in your village area can know what you're doing and you can also use this opportunity to greet them?
Okay. Afa azimam fa ale leba fa azumam gre boba bugresko then kimba fa azuma grumbon kan gante umam zemangu because bongo kambu mo ku wait no no say sungo government fia fa amugo so bo ka opportunity get mo fa an the government or fa az timbungo ma bezung ma jula no kwesigo an ma bo kan lan fa an be fa alan ni dimitena so bo jitmu fa an ka an ni lazy na ko bo lazy bongo bie bala bon ning miten mo bongo mo si je ka wole isa siam ya mbubu.
Very nice.
So water is almost getting finished. Come on, ask.
You give them water how many times a day?
2 times a day, morning and afternoon.
Is that also costly? Where are you getting water? From ground source or from a spring here?
No, I go right to the tap and buy water. You cannot give them any local water which is contaminated. No, you must give them water from the tap. And since we don't have a tap here, I go right downtown and buy the water and come up here.
How much do you buy a jug of water?
We buy 20 liters of water for 25 francs. So these are the people who are actually helping me in doing this job. And you know, as we know what Cameroon is today, my ambition is that immediately they leave school and if they don't have anything to do, they can continue with this same exercise that I am doing. So that is why I'm really pushing them inside the business and drawing them closer to me and bringing them up so that they can continue with the same spirit if they don't have anything after they finish their school.
Hello.
Hello.
What is your name?
Funwi.
And how long have you been doing this and work with your dad?
About 8 years now.
Okay, since you were born.
Yes.
And what do you do?
I used to help him in feeding the pigs. I used to go and carry the food and carry water to give them. Anything that concerns them, I have to check. I have to check if they are eating well. If they are not eating well, I'll come and tell my father so he can know what to do.
Are you happy with it?
Yes.
And sometimes you play and then you come and feed them, and does it disturb your schooling?
No.
You're happy to be doing it?
Yes.
Okay. Hello?
Yes.
What is your name?
Funwi earlier.
How long have you been doing this?
About 7 years now.
Okay. Are you happy?
Yes.
What do you do to help your dad in this?
I usually go down to the farm and take the pig's food. I came back sometimes. I help him feed the pig all the times. Then after, I usually give them water when they're in need of water. And when some of the pigs are not eating, I come and tell him if he knows if he can give them some vaccines.
Okay. And do you know some of the vaccines that they give them?
Yes.
You know them by name?
Yes.
Can you call me one name?
Flecopsan.
Okay. And it's used for doing what? It's a vaccine, yeah?
Yeah, it's when the pig is weak, you can give it the Flecopsan, let it be a little bit strong.
Okay.
And also stress vitamin.
And also stress?
Yes, when it's not eating and when it's just sleeping, you give it stress vitamin. It's going to help it to recover.
Okay, so what can you say to other people who do not like this animal keeping? What can you encourage them?
No, I would like to tell them that this is a good job, that it can help them in future. So they should start to think about it from now.
You're in which class?
From 3.
You're in which class?
From 1.
Thank you very much for talking to the African Center for Community and Development.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for talking to the African Center for Community and Development.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best in all your endeavors with your dad, and I hope that your business flourishes. So I am with the owner of this piggery, who is doing a great job in sustainable development. He is raising these pigs. He is also helping to give breeds out there to people who want to keep them, and also people who want to eat the pigs. He's also using this to sustain his life and the life of his family. Thank you very much.
And you just listen to a young girl who was saying that the community here is totally very angry.
Thank you very much for your
This was the Ijo country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools to make your academic genesis was at the government college to Delhi. And
go gather, destroy their food. Make cultivated camp and that other camp, Tongo camp, no compensate everybody.
Sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of JC Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his point at more dancer.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. There are lives that are meaningful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after stories, earthly adventures and no more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary life.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.